Hello everyone, Man of Thrall here, welcome back to a Suggestion Saturday video, and this one does involve RuneScape again. I know I've seen clips and stuff of them, and even occasional, but quite rare talks, about having VR compatible with RuneScape. And for some people, they're like, okay, well what's the point? Why would that be great? It wouldn't work, it wouldn't do this, it wouldn't do that. It could work. And there's a few ways it could work. But the biggest issue being is like their tick system. But even with that aside, even if you don't worry about the tick system, if they just add it so you have a WASD control, that would be enough to have VR work pretty good with it. And then the only thing they would need to do, of course, is have it zoom in. Now, why am I suggesting this, and how could this be useful for the game? Well, VR is becoming a big thing. I mean, I know some people think it's probably dumb. Other people don't really fully think it's actually worth it. And I will say, it depends on you. It depends on the person. And I've experienced VR. I have the Morpheus, well, PSVR. I have that, and I love it. It works great. The only thing is, like, I want to do stuff for the channel with it, but it'll probably be a little bit, because I gotta figure out how to do a setup so it goes to the capture device as well as the computer, because it's kind of a little wanky with how it all goes into play. But it is really, really fun. And it actually does give you the feeling that you are there. Now, there is also that, slight separation that in your head that it's not real. You could tell, especially if it's really cartoony. But if it's realistic, like, it probably would really change the experience. But so, I don't have a lot of experience with PSVR either. I only played a few demo games, and I do have one game for it, and I want to get back into playing on that, but I had to free up some time from other stuff in order to really do that. So, that stuff can come in time. Especially now that I found a way to free up more time for more types of videos. So that's good. But with RuneScape and VR, of course it would be through Oculus or Vive or the upcoming OS VR, if it's not out already. Which, all these options, it would be really good for, in the sense of that there is people who would play RuneScape if they had it with VR compatible. There is people who would do it. I mean, we all know that. I myself would be one of them. I'd find a way. I'd get myself a hold of the Oculus or the Vive or the OS VR. I'd get a hold of one of those, because it is they are very good systems. They are very neat. I do like VR systems. A lot of people are unsure which one's the best. My experience from researching them is, from what I know of, Vive is the best one. But I don't know that anymore, because I don't know anything about the OS VR, so I can't really say. But what this would enable people to do is it would enable people to experience the world of Gielinor, RuneScape, to a new degree. As well as people who like to roleplay in their games, be their character. Well, guess what? They could be their character. Now, it wouldn't be, like some people think of, like, well, how's it going to track your movement and stuff like that? It's not so much like, if they were to do it with this, it's not so much that you would, it's it's not as in-depth as like, okay, you need controllers for it, you need that, this and that. Because there is games out there that work with the will work with VR, and they use keyboard and mouse. Now, some people I know they don't like that, but some people do. And one thing with that is maybe it'll have head tracking, so you know you can look around. But it might not. It might just be that, you know, if you hit your turning keys and look around like that, that's how you look around. It could be that way. It might not be, but I think that would be a good introductory into it, is if they would just have it so you could have, you know, zoom all the way up and be able to actually look around as if you're in it, but you just still turn like this, you know, the keyboard. Now, as far as moving from place to place, well, there is a little bit of a downside to that, because right now it's with the mouse. So basically, you probably would be using your mini-map more than anything, assuming you even have it loaded if you're in VR mode. But I think it's something that is beneficial because VR is taking off. There's tons of games on Steam. A lot of people are getting into VR. And it's becoming more and more readily available to people. Even cell phones now are being VR ready. So, I mean, you go out and you get one of the newest phones or close to it, you have VR. So, I mean, there is ways that they could start expanding into it. I think they would have a market for it. It would set them apart from other MMOs. At least in the meantime, until they get it out. But then people can't be like, oh, well, RuneScape copied so-and-so. You know, like, those ancient discussions. So, but yeah, that's this week's suggestion, is just to get the VR rolling on RuneScape. And slow baby steps, of course. You know, maybe just have the visual, like I said, and then go from there. Not much else to it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time. Later, guys.